I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. It appears that the Department of Justice's criminal investigation into potential sex trafficking by Republican MAGA Congress member Matt Gaetz is still ongoing, and we learned about this through the filings and through the presentation and request of leniency by one of Matt Gaetz's former very close friends and allies who had previously pled guilty to 6 different felony counts, including counts for sex trafficking of a minor, identity theft, stalking, and wire fraud. The individual in question, of course, is named Joel Greenberg. He was a former Florida tax collector out in Seminole County, and he was buddies with Matt Gaetz. They would take trips together and take photos together, and according to Joel Greenberg, also potentially engaged in the criminal conduct at issue in Mr. Greenberg's case together. Mr. Greenberg was in court on Wednesday as part of his sentencing for the crimes that he has pled guilty to. Under the normal sentencing guidelines, he would receive approximately 21 to 27 years in prison for his crimes. However, because of his cooperation with the Department of Justice into their ongoing criminal investigations and into other investigations, which indeed led to 4 federal indictments already, there is what is called a downward departure on the sentencing that he would receive because he's been a cooperative witness. Now, ultimately, the judge will make the decision on the sentencing, and the judge does have considerable discretion, but under the guidelines now, a downward departure would be from 21 to 27 years to 9.25 years to 11 years. So a considerable downward departure. And in the filings by Joel Greenberg and his attorneys and in the presentation of evidence and information before the federal court in the Middle District of Florida before Judge Gregory Presnell, a hearing took place on Wednesday. One of the things that Greenberg's lawyers told the judge is that Greenberg had participated on at least 15 occasions in interviews with government lawyers with the Department of Justice, and that he has been inextricably involved in cooperating with the government into ongoing sex trafficking investigations and other criminal investigations of high-profile people, although these specific people are not listed in name, and they're not listed in any of the public filings, at least that have been filed on the court's electronic filing system. One thing to note is that Judge Gregory Presnell, the federal judge in the Middle District of Florida, which is like in the Tampa area, appears to be very skeptical of this downward departure of 9.25 to 11 years, and seems like he wants to sentence Joel Greenberg to significantly more time for engaging in conduct like sex trafficking of a minor. The ultimate sentencing decision will take place on Thursday. We should look to as well the filings by Joel Greenberg through his lawyers. And let's pull up the filings right now. And so one of the things that are listed in the filings, it says, pursuant to his plea agreement, referring to Joel Greenberg, with the government, and to mitigate the significant penalties he faces, Mr. Greenberg has been cooperating with federal prosecutors in active investigations currently being conducted by the United States Attorney's Office in the Middle District of Florida, the state of Florida, and the Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. And then it goes through a number of the dates and times when he provided this testimony. But specifically, the thing to focus on here is where it says active investigations, that they're still ongoing investigations. And we see that again here, another part of Joel Greenberg's filings, where he says the following. As previously noted, Mr. Greenberg's supplement involves confidential and protected information concerning the government's ongoing investigations and prosecutions. Because the government's interest in the integrity of its investigations outweigh the public interest, good cause exists for the sealing of Mr. Greenberg's supplement. And so what that means is because there are current ongoing investigations, likely into high-profile individuals, again, who are not named and will not be named publicly because that information does not take place pre-indictment. That information is kept confidential. Here, Joel Greenberg, through his lawyers, requested that the judge seal or put under the confidential docket so the public couldn't read the actual filings. And here is the court's order where it says, upon consideration, it is ordered that the motion to seal, to keep it confidential outside of the public's view, is granted. The clerk of the court is directed to file the supplement in response under seal. The supplement shall remain under seal until further order of the court, done and ordered in Orlando, Florida, November 29th, 2022 by Judge Gregory Presnell. And that just means that the filing in connection with Greenberg's sentencing, the supplement, which likely relates to other individuals, it could be Matt Gaetz, where there are active investigations taking place, that will all be filed under seal and confidential. It's kind of an extraordinary thing when you consider that you have somebody like Matt Gaetz who has been under a Department of Justice criminal investigation for engaging in conduct. And look, he's been indisputably friends and hung out with an individual who has pled guilty to sex trafficking, and he's taken trips with this individual. And so ultimately, regardless of what transpires with respect to whether an indictment takes place of Matt Gaetz or not, we believe there's an active investigation from what these filings are. I think there is no dispute about the judgment at the most basic level of Matt Gaetz. I mean, there shouldn't have been before, but it's undisputed he was hanging out and partying. I mean, this is a member of Congress here who's representing people, who's supposed to be an honorable person, but he's out partying with an individual who has pled guilty to sex trafficking and hung out with him and went on the same trips where at least Joel Greenberg engaged in that conduct. And so you think about, again, who the MAGA Republican Party is, who the current Republican Party is today, and it is people like this. And it's really what's disturbing. It's why there has been this mass exodus of former Republicans who are saying, I am not a MAGA Republican. I'm not MAGA. That is weird and cultish and dangerous and cult and problematic and anti-American. I'm not part of that crew. I'm pro-democracy. I'm pro-normal. I want to focus on issues that are important and have people with real honor and integrity be elected to positions in government. We will keep you posted here on the MeidasTouch Network with more developments about Matt Gaetz and, of course, other breaking news. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit the subscribe button. We're on our way to 1 million subscribers thanks to your incredible support. Please hit the subscribe button. In addition, check out our Patreon account. Go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. There's lots of great content that you can only get exclusively at our Patreon, but most importantly, help grow this independent media platform. We're not funded by any outside investor. So if you want to help out and get that great exclusive content wherever you are in the world, please consider joining our Patreon. And really, do subscribe. I want to get this platform to 1 million subscribers by the end of the year. I know it's an audacious goal, but you subscribing goes a long way to that. So if you're not subscribed, please, please, please hit the subscribe button and let's build this movement together. I'm Ben Meiselas. Until next time.
MeidasTouch is unapologetically pro-democracy. And look, we know you are too. So please make sure you check out our best-selling shirt and our best-selling gear, the unapologetically pro-democracy gear. And hey, while you're at it, make sure you check out my favorite shirt and one of our most famous designs. It wasn't rigged, you're just a loser. At store.meidastouch.com. That's store.meidastouch.com.